All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Today is Monday, March 31st, 2025. You are now watching Permission to Exist. I am your host, Permission to Exist, also known as PTE. It's good to see you guys. I know some of you probably thought she's not going to make it. She's not going to keep up with her promise of at least once a month. And for those of you who listened to the last live stream, I said that I might try to do it like mid March because March is such a long month, but we all see how that turned out. So, so here I am though. It's still March, and on the East Coast, it's just a little after 9 o'clock p.m. So I have fulfilled my promise yet again, and I'm very, very proud of myself. And I hope that you guys are as well. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you all again. It's been a little while. Last time we talked was, I think, late February or perhaps even the 1st of March. I don't even remember. But it feels like it was just yesterday. Want to give a huge shout out to everyone who supports me, supports the channel. Thank you so much. I recently got some new Patreon members, so that's very exciting. So welcome to you guys. I don't post anything over there. I used to, then I stopped, but maybe I'll pick it up again someday. So thank you for your support anyhow. Thank you to those of you who hit me up on Cash App and those who send super stickers, super chats, all of those things. Thank you. And the easiest and freest way to support the channel is by liking, commenting, and subscribing to it. In particular, this one, because I'm going to play a song for the outro. I know some of y'all love the outro that's already there, but I am going to play a song that is definitely going to demonetize the video. It's not a bad song at all. It's not vulgar or anything like that, but the way copyright works, some songs we're allowed to use, other songs we are not. And then other songs, they'll let you use them. You just can't monetize the video. So that's the situation that we're in, is that third circumstance. But I have to play it. It's for a reason. And you guys will see, but you have to stick around to the end to find out. Okay. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Let's catch up about everything. Let's talk about everything that's been going on. Um, March, March itself was kind of an interesting month, but I don't know that it was quite as eventful as January and February. And maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe it's a good thing to have some calm, if you want to call it that. I'll be honest, a lot happened that, like, it was a lot, but to me, it wasn't like reportable, if that makes sense. But we'll talk about it anyway, especially if you guys drop something in the Q&A. I do see a question here already. And actually, why don't we start off the show with that, and then we'll get into the topic. So the question that's in the Q&A, would you consider leaving the US if things continue going the way they have been? How have you been caring for yourself through all of this? That is such a good question. To answer the first part of it, would I consider leaving the US if things continue going the way they have been? Oh, I've already been considering it, to answer your question. And the catalyst for me, so I am fortunate in that I still have both of my parents. They are getting up there in age, and I'm not in denial about that. So for me, what I would like to do is just stay with them here stateside until they transition on to the next lifetime. And after they both transition to the next lifetime, which hopefully will be a while from now, but I'm not going to delude myself into thinking that we live forever. But hopefully, we got at least another good 10. I would love another 15 or even 20 years with them. But they're getting up there. And so I've decided that I'm going to remain stateside until my parents um, move on to the next lifetime, hopefully a long time from now. And then I'm gone. I'm out of here. Gone. I do have other family here in the States, but those are the two that I would stay for. And after them, I'm out of here. If things continue as they are, if things continue the way that they've been going, already thinking about it, already looking at different countries I could potentially go to, have a friend who, what is it called? Is it expatriated? There's another word, I feel like it. But she's an expat, basically, and a very successful expat at that. I look at her Instagram and I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, she lived in the States her whole entire life, born and raised, grew up, did everything. And then I think around age 30 or something like that, maybe 32, 33, she decided she was leaving. She left and she never came back. And she told me recently she's not coming back either. And I don't blame her. I really don't. So I admire her. And when the time comes, I'm going to be tapping her for a lot of advice on all of this. And then the second part of the question is, how have you been caring for yourself through all of this? So I wish I had it pulled up. I know I have it saved. But the way I've been caring for myself is I've just simply decided to not invest too much energy in their foolishness. Obviously, we're going to have to talk about some foolishness because it affects us all. But I've just kind of collectively chosen to ignore these people and watch them self destruct and implode, which they are, by the way, every single day. There's a new implosion. It's really fun to watch on the internet. But I have just been, to be honest with you, just kind of pretending like none of it is happening, which is what some people would call like stick your head in the sand kind of approach, which I don't necessarily recommend. But I feel like things have gotten so bad that I don't have the energy to invest in all of it because I feel like that's what they want. They want us to wake up every single day thinking about them and what they're doing or not doing. And it's just so old, you know? And there's a whole meme. It's not a meme, it's a movement really, where collectively Black people have just decided to sit this out. So I'm just kind of with everyone else. I'm sitting it out. I'm resting. I'm getting my rest. I have changed my hair washing routine. And so I have like a new routine, and I've really been indulging myself with that. I have just been cleaning up, getting organized, working, things of that nature, and just kind of moving on, just kind of moving on with life. Like, which again, passivity is not the answer necessarily, but I think you have to know when to step back to protect yourself because otherwise you might go crazy. You might go insane because this is just the strangest place that we're living in right now. It really is. Yes, chat says I've also made a new commitment to self-care. Hey Attitude, hey Brianna, Johnny, everybody, welcome. L, hi L. By the way, we had some troublemakers on the last live stream. I did block them. They'll probably find their way back, create another channel or whatever. So thank you all for alerting me to them. And I did take the time to go actually block them at the page level. So we shouldn't hear from those particular troublemakers, but I'm sure they'll make their way back in here. I think we may already have one actually, but we'll see. It is exhausting and scary to watch the news. It really, really is. It's just so weird. Like we are just living in such a very strange time. So what you have on your screen here obviously is not the sum total of everything that has happened in March. So definitely if there's something missing that you want to see or you want me to cover, drop it in the Q&A because I might miss it in the chat. The Q&A is separate, so I'll definitely see it, okay? But we'll walk down the ones that I felt like we should talk about together. Because if nothing else, aside from the folks who have passed away, if nothing else, we should get a very good laugh out of all of this. Yes. So let's go. Again, unstructured, and all those things. Oh, Jesus is in the house. Hey, Jesus, when are you coming back? Because we've been getting promises of your return for a long time, and we could use you right about now. So anyway, sit back, enjoy the show, okay? First of all, y'all, these planes, hold on. You know what we got to do. You know how we have to ease into this. So Jesus claims that he's in the chat and he wants me to read his book. Hey, Jesus, drop me a super chat. I know you got it. Okay. Or actually Cash App, because this video is going to get demonetized. All right. So there have been so many plane incidents since we spoke last that I just stopped writing them down. But the one that stands out the most, I'm going to go ahead and pull this picture up for you guys and share it with you. The one that stands out the most happened early March. This was like either early March or late February. No, it was March 13th, actually. This happened in Denver. Let me share my screen with you. They had to evacuate the airplane on the wing of the plane. Okay. And the way that I already feel about flight and air travel and things of that nature, you already know that. I've covered that before in previous streams. This is really getting out of hand. This is really extreme, you guys. This is really, really extreme because just last month when we met, a plane landed upside down, like in Alaska, I believe it was. Upside down. It basically crash landed, lost a wing, and flipped. So now here we are in March, and this is just one of many. There's been so many incidents. They had to evacuate on the wing of the airplane. I just don't feel comfortable with this, you guys. I'm not feeling I'm not feeling the greatest sense of ease regarding all of this. And I know that planes take off and land safely every single day, but this is extreme. And I think we would all have to admit that this is extreme. Okay? So, I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on, obviously, but um it's amazing that it has devolved this quickly. You know what I mean? And I think it shows that our systems and things that we thought were all mapped out really aren't mapped out that well, because it shouldn't have fallen apart this quickly. That means that it was always being held together by the seams, always. It was always being held together just by a thin, thin thread, always. And so there was this situation. Have any of you traveled recently by air? Let me know in the chat. There was one that occurred. A Southwest Airlines jet attempted to land at Chicago Midway Airport and nearly collided with a private plane on the runway. There was just a crash out. I can't remember. It was here in the States. I want to say Minnesota, maybe. It crashed in a residential neighborhood. There was that one. An American Airlines flight from Boston aborted its landing at Reagan National Airport in DC to avoid another plane that was taking off on the same runway. I mean, y'all, like a small plane with 5 people on board crashed near a retirement community in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Maybe it was that one. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking about. Okay. Like it's getting a little excessive, don't you think? Like, at what point do we raise our hand and say we need to ground all these flights until it was Minnesota? Chat says there was a crash in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. I think we need to raise our hand as a collective and say that we are actually we're done with flight temporarily until y'all get this sorted out. Because sometimes that's all you really need. Like 2 or 3 days where everyone just takes a breath, lets everything cool off, steps back, puts everything back together, gets organized, gets everything straightened out, and now we can fly again. But it's like people are it's not people. Capitalism is so afraid to just stop for one day so we can get our shit together for one day and then put these planes back in the sky. Because basically what has happened, and I tweeted this somewhere, is that it's almost like a ripple effect. It's almost like a butterfly effect in the system. It was already on a thin thread to begin with, but then you tip the domino, and now it is starting to basically cascade into the whole entire system, because the system itself is so dependent on itself. So when you interrupt one process or one flow, you cannot expect good results. You really can't. They were already struggling with hiring enough like air traffic controllers and things of that nature. Then you know who came through and gutted everything like the lunatic that he is, him and his flunky. And now we got people deplaning on the wing of the airplane. The wing, you guys. Not the slide, not the stairs, not the hatch or the latch or whatever. The wing. Okay? So, chat says the regulations are way down. Remember the Ohio two separate train derailments basically poisoned the towns and animals. That was the start. Airplanes are the now. Very interesting. Chat says, what do I think about Elon Musk? One of the greatest disappointments ever of all time. It's so sad. So sad. Like, well, since you brought him up, let's go back to our list because he's on our list. Okay. Um, but to answer your question, what do I think of him? One of the greatest disappointments of all time. Because here was a person with what, the most money on the planet, or like he's up there in like the top 3 people with the most money on the planet. So you have a lot of leverage and a lot of power to do good things in the world, to do great things in the world. And for a minute there, I was duped too. I've already admitted that I was fooled because I'm thinking this man is innovative, he's creative, it's a fresh energy, it's a new energy, for the love of God. Like maybe finally we can start to make some progress in life, because like you got to admit the concept of an electric car is really cool. Like I was looking at electric cars. Teslas not so much, because Teslas are so very different on the inside from other cars that I wouldn't trust myself to be able to drive it. I really wouldn't. We'll talk about Tesla in a minute. But like a different type of electric vehicle that still looks like a regular car on the inside, I was looking into it because I love that idea. I love the idea of not having to get gas all the time, of electricity overall being cheaper than gasoline. I love the idea of not polluting the air with all these fossil fuels. I know you guys have got to get sick of breathing in exhaust on your way to and from work, because I am. And every time that I have to do that and I have to put on my air return to try to clear it out, I think to myself, this cannot be healthy. It cannot be healthy for us to be breathing in the exhaust fumes of all these different cars, semi trucks, dump trucks, all kinds of trucks putting out black clouds of smoke. And it's just getting sucked into our vehicles and subsequently into our lungs. And we're all sitting around acting like that's normal. We're all sitting around acting like that's okay. I have an air purifier, right? Well, I have multiple, but the one in my living room is like smart, I guess, or whatever. So it tells me like what's going on outside. So for example, right now it says the pollen count is high. And we're going to talk about that in a minute too. But also every now and then it'll tell me the AQI, the air quality index, is high today. No, not that one. It's ozone. It'll say the ozone or something like that. I can't remember, y'all. I'm sorry. It'll either say AQI or ozone is high today. So I finally looked it up, and it turns out that they're talking about that very thing, all the exhaust particles in the air, just in the air, just hanging out, camped out in the air. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea that's what that was, because you can't smell it. Like where I'm at in my house, I can't smell exhaust from my back porch or my front porch, but it's there though. And that's what bothered me. I was like, oh my God, like, because in my mind, if you can't smell it, it's not there. And I know that's really, really dumb, but I'm just being honest with you because I'm into being honest with you guys. So in my mind, if I don't smell exhaust, there's no exhaust in the air. Wrong. It could still be there, but it's just dissipated to the point where you can't smell it. So I say that to say this can't be healthy. This can't be healthy. All right. But I digress. I said all that to say that I was very, very interested in the idea of an electric car. I really, really was. So this is answering the earlier question in the chat. I'm just so disappointed in him. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, it's just so strange to me how so many of their minds just collapse into right-wing lunatics. Like, why is that the pattern? That's what we need to be studying. There's actually a great video. If I find it, I'll link it for you in the chat. But it was by FD Signifier is the content creator's name, and he basically covered this very topic: how the minds of these particular males default and downgrade into right-wing predatory psychopathic lunatics like your Andrew Tates, your Elon Musks, your Kevin Samuels, all the Joe Rogans, all of them. Like, why does their brain collapse into that? You see what I mean? Like, you know how they say a star collapses into, like, what, a white dwarf or something like that, and then it turns into a black hole? Why do their minds first collapse into the white dwarf and then into the black hole? Why? Why does it follow the exact same pattern? Like, that's what's interesting to me. Like, I could care less about their ideology, even though they're very destructive and it has very real impacts in the world. I also know that they're idiots. So for me, it doesn't weigh the same. I just work hard to avoid them and educate about them. I'm more interested in, why does the mind take this pathway? Because we've all been exposed to the same things, but we all didn't collapse into psychopathic, like, you know what I mean? Psychopathic, um, right wing predators, misogynistic predators, but they all do. And they all have the same value system across the world. That's what's interesting also, across cultures, across religions, across races. When their mind collapses, it collapses in the same way. Why? Why? These are the things that I need studied and researched, but we know that won't happen because they're cutting funding, they're cutting departments, they're cutting scientific different things, different research, all they're cutting all of it. Why? Because they want to, because they feel like it. Like, oh God, living with men is so hard. It is so hard. Because you know what I was thinking about the other day? Even if you are a single woman, either by choice or by circumstance, your life is still affected by men more than you may realize. For example, I'll give you a perfect example. Those of you who have jobs and work, chances are the policies that your company has designed for you were designed by some man, and you're forced to abide by them or else. So it's kind of like, even if you're not married, even if you don't have a son, maybe a relationship with your father or not, dating or not, whatever, your life is still somehow impacted by these men, honey, and the decisions that they might make. That's what bothers me. Like, I don't want my life impacted by your decisions, but it is, and they are. So anyway, I'm slipping way down a different rabbit hole than I intended to, but I think it's important to talk about these things, especially considering I only come on once a month, which I do hope to change in the future. I do, but I want to make realistic promises. And right now, realistically, all I can promise is once a month. But I do hope that that changes very, very soon, actually. So there's the answer to your question. It's a long answer, but you asked. Okay. So thank you for the question. All right. So since we're on the topic of Elon Musk, President Musk, this is exactly what I mean, right? So if you all will recall, about 9 months ago, two astronauts who were only supposed to be in space for a few days got stuck up there for 9 months. Okay. And basically couldn't get a return trip home until SpaceX sent a capsule, I guess, picked him up and brought him back home. So congratulations to them. I'm happy that they made it. I'm happy that they got back safely and all of those things. But this is what I'm talking about regarding Elon. Like, you are over SpaceX. You're supposed to be doing amazing things. You're supposed to be changing the world for the better. You're supposed to be like focused on the future and like not in this weird political trying to control women. I hate my child because he or she is trans type control like marriage and fertility. No, honey. No. You are supposed to be inventing things, creating things. Where is our high speed rail? We need a high speed rail that goes across the entire country. If it can. I think it can't because of the mountains, right? I don't know. It would have to go around the mountains, but you get my point. Where is the high speed rail that can take me from Georgia to New York in like 4 hours, 6 hours tops? You know what I mean? Or from the East Coast to the West Coast and maybe like 7 or 8 hours or something, or faster than that. I don't know. Where's our high speed rail? Where is all of our healthy food? Like, seriously, like, where are like the new designs for like homes and apartments? And I don't mean the 15-minute cities either. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like, where is the innovation? Where is like, where is everything? The other day I drove through a traffic circle. I'm sure some of you have them where you live. And as I was going through it, I just thought to myself, this is so smart. They took away the traffic light, they took away the stop signs. And basically, you just enter the circle when you're able, and then you exit on a street that you need to exit on, or turn completely around if you need to. And it's all beautiful and fine. Everyone stops where they need to stop. They go when they go. They turn, and there's no oncoming car that you have to watch because you're all going in the same direction. Like, it's just beautiful. I was like, it's such a simple design, but so effective and so smart. That's the type of intelligence that I'm looking for the future. That's what he's supposed to be doing. Bringing astronauts home from space is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be putting up Starlinks and connecting the world and giving the world internet access. You're supposed to be doing that type of stuff, not buying elections for a psychopathic president. You know what I mean? Not sending up Yahtzee salutes and making your stock tank to the. Okay, let's talk about that. So, congratulations to the astronauts for finally making it home. Congratulations. I know that, oh God, they had to have been like, I don't know, like when I see those videos of them up there, the thoughts that run through my head, the things that I think are just like, how do you not go completely insane? Because it's very small and there's stuff everywhere. It's not like small and clean, you know? It's small and cluttered and you're floating or whatever, and like you're trapped up there with probably not that many people, one at least, but at best 4 or 5, and y'all are just up there doing what? I guess experiments and tests. I don't know. I feel like I would lose my mind. Okay. So, congratulations for even enduring all that and making it back home safely. All right. Now, let's talk about Tesla. Elon has successfully tanked Tesla. Okay. His stock has plummeted. People are selling their Teslas left and right. The market value of the car has dropped. So there's people who paid like $125,000 for their Tesla, and it's now worth like 56,000. And all cars depreciate for the most part. Like most cars depreciate from brand new anyway, but not that much. That's like buying a $30,000 car and now it's worth mm, like 14 or 15, and it's only like a year or two later, not like 10 years later. So he's completely, don't you dare buy on that dip. Chat says buy on the dip. You're going to lose money. Listen, there's certain countries, I think it was Germany actually, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But some countries have banned the import of Teslas. Like they don't even want the car in their country. Okay. We all know what's been happening with the different Tesla dealerships, they've been getting vandalized. Teslas, Cybertrucks have been getting vandalized, which as a public figure, I don't support because a lot of people who bought Teslas bought them before Elon lost his mind. So it's kind of unfair. Like, obviously, don't damage anyone's property, but it's kind of unfair to those people who really are just like into cars, into technology, into electric vehicles, and we're just into Tesla for Tesla's sake, not because of Elon, if that makes sense. So it was a cool car to them. Like, everyone I know who has a Tesla love their cars. Maybe not so much now because they feel embarrassed driving them around in public, which is just so sad. Like, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before. Like, a public figure, the owner of a company, the owner of several companies, manages to destroy the brand so thoroughly that people are embarrassed to drive their car around. And I'm not laughing because it's not funny, but like, that's very, very sad. Like, these people probably felt so confident driving their Teslas before. And now it's like they want to hide it. I heard some people are actually swapping out the decals, swapping out the the chat says the incel mobile. Okay. I've heard that people are taking the Tesla logo off. The emblem is the word I'm looking for, and putting on like Toyota, Audi, BMW, Subaru. Like, they're trying to like throw people off so people won't know that it's a Tesla. Like, that is horrible. And I feel like I read somewhere that either the investors or the board or even the customers maybe are thinking about suing Elon because he has caused them to lose so much money. Something that was supposed to be an investment, either via stock or the car itself, is supposed to retain some of its resale value. So even if you bought it for 100,000, in a couple years, you should be able to sell it, I imagine, for like 78,000, which is still a depreciation, but it's not half. You know what I mean? It's supposed to hold its value some. They're saying people can't get rid of these Teslas. Nobody's buying them. Nobody wants to buy them from them. So I'll admit that I did like the Model Y, especially the gray one. God, it's such a cute car. But obviously now I wouldn't consider getting one. But more than that, like I was saying earlier, I just feel like I would wreck it trying to figure out how to drive it. The steering wheel is different. There's no buttons. So like, everything is on the touch panel. So like, if you're used to adjusting your air conditioner with a knob, you have to adjust your air conditioner on the touch screen panel. Like, God, it's weird. Like, all the stuff that I'm used to being right there, like being able to look at the road and reach down and adjust whatever I need to adjust, it's all on the touch screen. Excuse me. It's all on the touch screen, the volume controls, everything. Like, that's too much for me. I'd wreck it trying to figure out how to drive it. So no Tesla for me, but I do feel sorry for the owners who are innocent in all of this, who are just tech inclined and wanted to try really a new car, because we haven't really had any innovation in vehicles in decades, I feel like decades. The only innovation they've given us are these ultra bright, ultra white, sickening, like nauseating, migraine inducing headlights. That's the only innovation that they've given us. That's it. But other than that, there's nothing really all that different. I mean, we have like, where they can see the car, it can detect the car on the side. So it's like, tells you don't merge basically, because there's a car over there. We got that blind spot control or whatever it's called. Oh, good point. Chat says not in the American market. No, good point. Very good point. They probably have all kinds of cool stuff overseas. We get nothing. We don't get anything over here. So yeah, so Elon has managed to ruin Tesla's stock and brand. And I just think that is just remarkable. I really do. The fall from grace has been so complete and so total. And apparently, he was online the other day crying about it. Like, Tesla hasn't done anything wrong. Oh, oh, they really tug at your heartstrings. He was like, Tesla hasn't done anything wrong. It's a good company. It's like, yeah, but it's like they just can't. They're like simple little baby children, just can't connect how, you flushed your toy truck down the toilet and now you don't have it anymore. It's like, but mommy, it's we should be able to get it out, right? Like, no, you flushed it down the toilet. It's gone, son. What do you mean it's gone, mommy? It's like, well, you threw it in the water and you pulled the plunger and now it's gone forever. We can't, you know what I mean? Like, just simply cannot understand how their actions led to a certain outcome, you know? So it's sad to watch, but you must not feel sympathy because they have no sympathy and they are ruthless and merciless. This is what I mean by being subject to the decisions of men that you have nothing to do with. It's just sad. But this is what happens. This is what it is. Okay? So let's move on. Let me check and see if any Q&A has come through. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you guys. So, okay. This was probably, in my opinion, the biggest story of March 2025, which I wasn't all that interested in, but I thought that it was just quite telling of where we are as a society. But our defense secretary, who never should have been confirmed in the first place, but he was, Pete Hegseth, or whatever his name is, had a group chat going on some app called Signal. And they managed to accidentally add a journalist to it and then proceeded to discuss war plans of some country that they were planning on attacking in the near future, and were quite casual about it. And it's just kind of like the and of course they're not going to be punished. Trump has already come out and said he's not going to fire anybody for it. And you know what it really feels like to me, y'all? It feels like we all work for corporate now. And those of you who have worked for corporate before know exactly what I mean. And you'll know exactly what I mean by that. We all work for corporate now. Corporate does something stupid. They make a stupid decision. Consequences arise from that stupid decision. And then the people who made the stupid decision, they don't get fired, they don't get reprimanded, they don't get chastised, they get to keep their jobs, and life marches on while everyone else beneath these people has to play cleanup for the mistakes that they consistently make. It's not like they made one mistake or two mistakes, like huge mistakes in their entire career. They make mistakes all the time, but they are never held accountable for it, ever. Now, we're held accountable for what we do and don't do, but they are not. And they get to maintain their titles and their positions and their pay and their benefits in spite of making consistently bad decisions. So I feel like as a society, as a citizenry, we all work for a corporate now. We're all under a corporate structure. This is what they do. They've just finally taken corporate all the way to the government level. And I don't know if that's always been their goal, but we're here. It's what's happening. Chat says they don't want to understand the consequences of their actions. That part. Or that their actions have consequences at all. That part. Exactly. Excuse me. Chat says Donald will not fire anyone because they are an extension of himself and his narcissistic supply. Admitting wrong is not something he could do. You're absolutely correct. Okay? Because they have to be perfect at all times. That's one of the narcissist's biggest flaws. They believe that they have to be perfect all the time, and they think that they are perfect as a result. And they also think everyone else thinks that they're perfect. And if you don't, there will be hell to pay. They just can't allow themselves to be human because in their minds, they're not human. They're superhuman. But that's a different show. Chat says, I have one more question. What about digital reality and AI? Here's the short answer to your question. The short answer is AI is going to crash and burn eventually. Now, when it crashes and burns is the question. It could happen this year, next year. It might take 5 or 10 years for it to crash and burn. AI is going to crash and burn. And the reason is because nobody wants it. Nobody. I know some people use Chat GPT and they enjoy it and all that fun stuff, but you have to understand that AI simply cannot think. It's not human. And it does not matter how many data centers they open up. It doesn't matter how much they scrape the internet for every piece of content that was ever created. AI cannot think. It's not human. It's just not. That's why when you go and try to ask it a question that has some layer of complication to it, it often can't answer you. It can't answer you. Like it does an okay job, but AI can't understand complexities, nuance, tone. It doesn't truly understand your motivations or what motivates you or why people would do certain things. Like, yes, chat says it's incapable of insight. They cannot replicate it. Now, don't get me wrong, they can come very, very, very close. But part of the reason I'm so confident about this is because of the simple things that they have not mastered yet. I will become afraid of AI when they start to master the simple things. What do you mean, PTE? For example, I assume almost all of us have cell phones, smartphones, right? And I assume most of us text or write emails all day, every day. Now, I know they have a feature where they try to finish your sentence for you. But what would frighten me is if they actually start to memorize your speech patterns and can actually predict what you would say back to a specific person down to that level of specificity. So, reading like the text that came through from my, let's say, best friend, and knowing exactly how I would respond to it based on observing me over time, that would frighten me. And then knowing how to switch it up based on who I'm talking to. Am I talking to one of my parents? Am I talking to my coworker, my boss? And studying, I'm giving you ideas now because I know y'all won't implement them. I'm not talking to you guys in the chat. I'm talking to all the AI scrubbers out there listening. Studying how I interact with certain people to the point where it can make a suggestion based on how I normally respond or how I normally think regarding that certain topic. It's not going to get there because you don't know what influenced my mind on this particular day or what I need or what I want or what I'm trying to do or what I'm planning to do. Like, oh man, I could do an entire show on that. It's never going to get there, you guys. And I can say that with confidence. Now, they'll come pretty close. But every time I try to use Copilot, for example, I just close it because it's so annoying because you just don't know what I need from you. You don't. I'll give you a perfect example. Perfect example. The other day, I had to copy paste a document that had all kinds of different fonts in it, weird spacing, um, different colors. For whatever reason, this person had all kinds of different colors. And I tried it. I said, okay, I'm going to give Copilot a chance. So I pasted it into Copilot and I said, clean this document up and make it look better, how I would want it. That was the whole prompt. Clean this document up and make it look how I would want it to look. And it tried. I'll give it credit. It did try. But ultimately, I had to go back in and make it how I normally structure documents, how I normally space them, the font that I use, the size that I use, the way that I correct certain spelling and grammar errors. You can't think like me. You're not me. You're not human. You tried though, and I'm congratulating you for that because you did a great job trying. But no, so it's not going to happen, y'all. Exactly. AI is chat says AI just knows the information that we've given it from the information that's on the internet. That's it. It can't think, though. It cannot reason, because part of reason is like your past experiences, your belief system, different traumas, for example, um, things that make you happy, things that make you excited, um, your goals, like your future goals. Like, there's so much that goes into reasoning, and it cannot be replicated. It can't. It can come close, but it just cannot replicate it. That's why they tell people, going back to Tesla, not just Tesla, but all electric vehicles that have the ability to self drive, is you cannot take your eyes off the road, though. Like, check it out. We can probably get you safely from point A to point B, but that doesn't mean you can't pay attention. You, the human being, you still have to pay attention, because I'm a, I'm a robot, okay? And I'm doing my best here. You want to know how they program the basically the vision on these cars? So for example, let's say they want to make sure Teslas never hit like a small child crossing the road. So what they do is take millions of pictures of children, and they feed it into the AI, basically the machine. They call it machine learning. They feed it into the machine. And over time, the machine develops a concept of what a child looks like, what a person looks like, not just a child. We could just say person. It feeds millions, if not billions, of different images of people into it and said, this is a person, apply the brakes. This is a person, apply the brakes. That's a person, apply the brakes. Here's a fat person, apply the brakes. Here's a skinny person, apply the brakes. Here's a tall person, apply the brakes. So eventually the machine goes, okay, when something looks like this, that is what we call a person, and we have to apply the brakes. That's how they teach these cars to think. And when you consider it like that, it's really effing scary, because basically you're just helping it recognize certain shapes, basically, which is why I don't know if you guys, Copilot is annoying. I hate it too, Johnny. Chat says, I hate Copilot. It's annoying. It is so annoying. Summarize this email. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Copilot. Summarize the email. And then basically you just put everything back that's already in the email. Thank you. You saved me approximately 0 seconds. But anyway, I don't know if you guys saw, they did an experiment. So if you guys will think back to like Looney Tunes and things like that, and Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, remember how I think the Roadrunner would put up a picture of a fake road, like on the side of a mountain. So Wile E. Coyote would chase him and then like slam into the fake road and subsequently slam into a rock, because, Wile E. Coyote thought that it was a real road. And so he tried to drive down it and slammed into a rock. You know what I'm talking about? Well, somebody made a life-size version of that. Let me see if I can find it so y'all can see what I'm talking about. And then they tested Teslas against it. The Teslas thought that it was a real road because it looks like a real road. Do you see what I mean? As try as you might, you will not replace the human being. You won't. You can't. I know you're going to keep trying though, but you can't do it. But the Tesla did exactly what it was trained to do. This looks like a road. It was basically a picture of a real road. And they positioned it in such a way to where it looks like the road just continued. So the Tesla kept driving and drove through the wall every time. Let me see if I can find it here. Let me put my keyboard in front of me and slide y'all back a little bit. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's Tesla drives through fake wall. And I just saw in the chat, someone said, where is it? I saw a video a guy posted. He was in a self-driving Uber that kept going in circles and wouldn't stop. I saw that too. And I didn't mean to laugh the way that I did, but I laughed so hard, y'all. And it's not funny because I'm sure he was scared, I'm sure he was scared, but God, that was funny. So here's what I'm talking about. Okay. I typed in Tesla drives through fake wall. So as you can see, someone has put up a picture. Let me see if we can make this one bigger. This is a picture of the road ahead. Okay. So the line continues, the grass continues, the skyline continues, the concrete continues, just a little bit darker, but that's not unusual because concrete changes color when you're driving in real life. And the Tesla slammed right through it, went right through. So that should give you a very clear understanding of how they program the cars, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but it's not foolproof because they're not human beings. They're not human. Okay? So yeah. Um he was late for a flight too, bless his heart. That bot, like anything that needs to be updated or maintained concerns me. Which, I mean, a lot of things in life need to be updated or maintained. But what I mean is, I don't want my safety to be dependent on whether or not my computer has been updated. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if I haven't gotten my oil changed, fine. If I, have bald tires, fine. That's my fault. You know what I mean? Um, so forth and so on. Something mechanical, something physical that I have control over. That's on me, right? I don't want my car to glitch out on me because y'all pushed an update through overnight, or the update went wrong, the update crashed or something. Like, I've heard stories of people getting locked in their Tesla because the battery died. So the battery dies and it locks all the doors on the car and you're just stuck in there. Like, see, that's the kind of stuff I don't like. I don't like that. Excuse me. It doesn't make me feel confident or comfortable. Okay. So those are my thoughts on all things Elon, Tesla, and all that stuff. So yeah, moving on. So yeah, the defense secretary, who's supposed to have the highest level of security, leaked war plans on a app called Signal, and it's just completely ridiculous because just a few years ago, y'all were hounding Hillary because of emails on a server. Which, I mean, if it's serious, it's serious. If it's a matter of national security, fine. It's a matter of national security. Fine. So if she did something wrong by doing that, fine. But so did you. Like, and you added a random journalist who could have been anyone, and you're just casually discussing war plans like you're discussing this weekend's golf game. This country is not serious. It's a very unserious place, which is why, yes, to answer that question from earlier, I will be leaving if things continue as they are, because it's a failing nation. Like other countries that were once considered behind us, if even that is true, are starting to lap us, and it's embarrassing. Okay? Moving on to something a little bit lighter. a little bit lighter. Georgia recently set a record for the highest pollen count, I think since they've been recording it. And I certainly feel it. I certainly am very aware of all the extra pollen. But here's what's crazy, y'all. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. Excuse me. Where did I see this the other? Oh, I have it over here. Yes. Sometimes my storage system works well. So here's what's crazy about that. The other day, I stepped outside. There's a lot of trees behind my house, which I love, by the way. I stepped outside and I was looking in the air and I was like, is that smoke? I was like, is something on fire? Right? And I was like, I don't smell smoke. And I didn't know what it was, but it eventually cleared out. Well, I figured out what it was the following day because the wind was blowing. Y'all, I have never seen pollen come off trees like this before, ever. It was like a cloud of yellow dust, which, I mean, that's what pollen is, but I'd never seen that before. So the wind blew and literally it was like I immediately went back in because I was like, I don't know if I should have this all over me. I don't know if I should be breathing this. But this is a real picture of the pollen. And apparently on March 29th, the pollen count, 14,801, is the highest total in Georgia's history. Like, and you can tell, and it's funny, it tickles me because the other day, so now I'm in the front of the house. I looked on my driveway and I was like, I cannot believe. I'm so glad I didn't go accuse them. Oh my God. I'm so glad I didn't accuse them. I was like, I cannot believe these kids drew on my driveway with yellow chalk. They have no respect for other people's property. I wish their parents would control them. But the more I looked at it, I was like, the lines are too straight and perfect for them to be kids. Like kids draw all kinds of random stuff. It was like very even. And I was like, oh my God, that is not chalk. That is pollen. It was like this neon yellow, super bright, what looked like chalk in straight lines. And I was like, I cannot believe these kids are over here playing with this chalk on my driveway. And I'm so glad I didn't go accuse them because it wasn't them. It was the pollen, you guys. It is yellow everywhere. Like everything is completely covered in yellow dust right now. We need rain like bad. We were supposed to be getting a storm, but we didn't get it. Or maybe it's still on the way. I don't know. What time is it? I'm hungry. So let me speed this up because I've made myself hungry. But this is a real picture of the pollen. And yes, chat just said, I heard it's because all the trees are male. That's what the same person posted here. They need to plant more female trees so this doesn't happen. But you want to know why they don't plant female trees? I learned this on YouTube a few years back. And it is really just so like, we need a reboot. Like, I don't know what we need as a country, as a people. The reason they don't plant female trees is because they don't want them to produce fruit. Because they don't want to be bothered with the fruit of the tree falling. So, for example, apple trees, orange trees, date trees, pear trees, lemon trees. I think lemons grow on trees. Yeah. Any tree that produces some sort of fruit as a byproduct, they don't want to have to deal with it. So imagine a country where you could walk down the street and literally just pick an apple up, rinse it off a bit, check it out for bugs and pests. And if it doesn't have any, just eat it. Oh, chat says any fruit you eat, they want you to pay them for. Hello. I think we nailed it. I think we found it. Found it. Any fruit that we eat, they want us to pay them for. See, I hadn't even thought about that. I was taking it a different direction, but you're absolutely correct. They want money for that fruit. So they don't plant female trees, one, because they don't want to deal with all the falling fruit, but two, they want you to pay for them apples and pears and oranges and peaches and whatever else. You got to pay for that. So all these male trees are just out here lonely as hell. Just never mind. I was going to make such an inappropriate joke. Producing lots and lots of pollen with nowhere for it to go. And we're all suffering from it. We're all suffering. You can hear I'm congested basically, but I'm not sick. It's just, the pollen is out of control. It's out of control. Okay. And it's still out here too. We need a good rain. So yeah, they don't want you in your free apple trees. They don't want they don't want you eating free apples. They don't want someone who might be food insecure to come across a peach or something like that on the ground. So yeah, but that's what I heard. I saw that on YouTube too, by the way. So I'm sure it's still out there. And I think the title was Why There Are No Female Trees or something like that. But it's pretty. Oh, Oh, the poor trees. Chat says the trees are attempting to have sex. They're just trying to connect. They're just trying. Oh, I humanize everything. I'm so ridiculous, and I've got to stop because now I feel sad for them because all they're trying to do is connect and like have relationships. You know what I mean? But it's just a bunch of bros out here. Just a bunch of. Never mind. All right, let's move on. Actually, I'm gonna do. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go in this order still. Okay. So there have been some notable passings since we last spoke. So one is Angie Stone. She was a neo soul musician, one of my favorite artists, and she is the reason that this video ultimately won't be monetized because I'm going to play you out with my favorite song from her that she's ever done. It's called No More Rain. Oh God. I've been singing that song since it came out, which was like the 90s, I think, 98 or 99, something like that, maybe early 2000s. That song came out, but that is one of my favorite songs. That song and the song she did with Prince. Um, I'm trying to think of the name, but the lyrics are, in this trusted place, you can't erase every tear that's ever rolled down your weary face. All the time you waste in that paper chase is time never spent in these arms of mine, heaven sent, angel so divine. You're my confidant. You That's the name of the song. You make my sunshine. Duh. How could I not know that? Oh my God, I love that song so much. Everything she did for the most part, I love, but those are my top two. No More Rain and You Make My Sunshine with her and Prince. If you've never heard those before, you've got to look them up. And I'm just gonna not be monetized this evening, just so I can play No More Rain for you at the end, because it is such a beautiful song. And if you've never heard it, I want you to hear it, so it's worth it to me. Okay. I wonder if I've heard that one. Angie Stone, your Angie Stone fave is Every Day. I've probably heard it and can't think of the lyrics, but I'll look that one up too. So Angie passed, and she passed in a very bizarre way, and a lot of people are questioning it and raising red flags because basically she was on her way to a venue, I think in South Carolina, where this happened, but it could have been what, Alabama or Mississippi. It was one of the southern states, and the van that she was on overturned basically, and I think it had 13 passengers on it. Everyone survived, but her. That was what came out. That was the first story that came out, right? But then more information has been coming out since. Apparently, after the van overturned, she got out alive. Like she crawled out like everyone else, alive. But then another truck came and it hit her after she had crawled out of the vehicle. So a lot of people are raising suspicions and concerns about that, because how do you get in a rollover crash? Everyone survives, you survive and crawl out, and then you get hit by a truck. Like, come on. And she had just done a live stream where she was exposing the production company, the music company. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now, what they're actually called, the record company, how they had basically played with her money over the years and how she was going to speak out about it and speak up about what they had done to her and how they basically have robbed her throughout the years. And then like 2 weeks later, she dies in a car crash. So it's all a bit suspicious, all a bit questionable and highly suspect. Highly, highly, highly suspect. But one thing that makes me so sad, and this is just me doing an aside really quick, is that I hate to hear how these musicians are treated, how they are handled in the music industry, because they make something that is so important to our lives. Like, music has been the soundtrack of my life. And I say that, and some people might hear that and be like, PTE, music is the soundtrack to everyone's life. You would be surprised how many people don't really like love music. They kind of like it. They could take it or leave it. They might have one or two favorite songs here or there, but I do mean just that, one or two favorite songs here or there. They might know the lyrics to one or two songs here and there. They could go weeks without listening to music. They can go months without listening to music. It makes no difference to them one way or the other. And then you have people like me who pretty much always have some song stuck in her head at all times. And it changes every couple of days. It's a different song stuck in my head. Got CDs from the past, cassette tapes from when we used to go to sleep, Siri. I did not say your name. Got cassette tapes from when we used to record music off of the radio. With libraries, streaming libraries full, playlists full of music, Pandora, Spotify, all of the things. Like it's in my like blood. It's in my bones. I love music, love it. And there are some people who don't. So like I say all that to say that musicians create like art that is so meaningful to our lives and so hard to replicate. Everybody can't sing. Everybody can't play instruments. Everybody can't write songs. I think songwriters are geniuses. You got to be a genius to hear a song in your head and write down all the lyrics for it and the transitions and everything. You're a special kind of genius. You have a special intelligence that I admire so much. So everyone can't do that. And then to hear how they're treated by the music industry is so sad, because it's almost like they're punished for creating like one of the greatest gifts to the planet. So you either get to be a shower singer for your whole entire life. Like imagine if Whitney Houston had decided to just be a shower singer, meaning she just sang in the shower and that's it. Or like sang in her car on the way to work at a call center or something. No disrespect to call centers, because I've worked in a call center before. And even if I hadn't worked in a call center before, no disrespect to honest work. It's not about the call center. It's about, picture Whitney Houston just singing in the shower and then singing in the car on her way to work and then clocking in at the call center. You see what I mean? So you either have the choice between being a shower singer who just lives a regular life and never even tries to go into the industry, or taking what you believe to be your talent and trying it out in the industry and risking getting like completely robbed blind by your recording contract. Like it is so sad. Like it's crazy, man. Yeah, it's exploitation. Absolutely. Like it's just so sad. Like you see some of these artists up here and you can tell they're not working because they still want to. Excuse me. You can tell that they're working because they have to. And that's very, very, very sad, because for what they give us, what they give the world, they should be able to live comfortably as well, which, don't get me wrong, a lot of them are rich and they'll be rich for the rest of their lives. Don't get me wrong. But they spend up to their paycheck just like everyone else does. So let's just say they make $1 million a year. Well, they've spent up to where their bills are like 1.2 million a year. So they got to work for that extra $200,000. Do you see what I'm saying? Between the mortgage, all the cars, the private planes, the jets, the purchases, the parties, you name it. They've spent 1.2 million, but they only make 1 million a year. So they got to work for that extra 200,000, just like we do. If you make 100,000 a year and you spend, oh God, why did I use that number? What would the equivalent be? $100,000, $200? You get my point. You overspent your budget. They overspend their budget too. So they got to work for that extra money. It ain't going to come from nowhere. And then some of them go flat broke. Did you all see the videos from the lady who used to be in Vogue? Her name is Dawn, Dawn, Dawn. She is living out of her car right now, but according to her, she chose it. She chose what they call van life, which, you know, there's a whole niche out there of people purposely living in their cars and like recording it, posting it to YouTube or TikTok or whatever. This woman was in Vogue. And if you were alive at the time, you remember how in vogue was. Like, who would have thought that that could become of any of them? Now, in good news, she seems to be healthy. She seems to be happy. It could be a front, but she also might be telling the truth. She might actually be enjoying that lifestyle. And hopefully this exposure is getting her like money and like help and stuff. But this woman was in vogue. Like, you had to be there. You had to be alive at the time to understand truly the impact of that group, the music that they put out, the songs that they put out. You had to be there. It's like these were the divas of the time. And now she's living in her car because the industry screwed her over so bad. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people sometimes make bad decisions. Like, it doesn't matter how good your contract is. If you make a lot of poor money choices, that can happen. But it's often the catalyst is often the fact that they're not being paid enough in the first place. Some of us are out here making more money than some of these entertainers after all their bills come due. You and I are going home with more money in our pocket than some of the more famous people that you know. And I just think that's sad because I think what they do is very valuable. And we got to find a way to pay our artists, man. Don't support AI. Work really hard not to support AI generated things because it's taking away from real artists. I'm very passionate about this. Okay. Yeah, it did. Chat says that happened to so many early 2000s rappers. Absolutely. It is the saddest thing. It's the saddest thing. And it's scary. Being a celebrity is kind of scary because once you become famous, you're locked in. That's part of the reason. There are many reasons, but that's one of the reasons I decided to not come on camera for this channel, because I don't know for sure that I want to be locked into this in particular. I actually have other interests. We haven't really talked about narcissism in a long time anyway, but I actually have other interests. And I think to myself, do I want to be locked in as the narcissism girl? Like Dr. Romani, for example, she's the narcissism lady. She's not going to be anything other than that. I mean, I'm sure she could try, but she's the narcissism lady. Some of the other creators out there who specialize in certain content, once your face is associated with it, you are locked in. You're locked in. And I don't know that I want to be locked in just yet. Like, I feel like if I want to be locked in, I want to be locked into like a hair channel, hair beauty lifestyle, which I know there's a million of those, but I know y'all have never seen my hair, but I feel like I could get a substantial following just off of me talking about the maintenance of it, what products I use, my routine, trying out, testing different products, because my hair is so thick and so dense. So like, I feel like a lot of chicks would watch because they'd be like, if she can manage her hair, I can manage mine. Truly. So anyway, that I'm trailing. But my point is, if I want to be locked in with something, I'd rather be locked in with that. And I'm not ashamed of my work here at all. I'm actually very proud of it. It's one of the proudest things I've done in my life. But I don't know that I want that to be my permanent brand. Like, I don't want to go out in public and people be like, PTE, let me tell you about my narcissistic cousin. I'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Go watch a few videos and I hope things get better for you. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I'm rambling. Okay, so rest in peace to Angie Stone. I'm actually going to play y'all out with one of her songs here in a minute. Michelle Trachtenberg passed away also since we last met, which I just thought was so freaking sad because she was only 39. And she's one of those faces that I associate with my childhood. So it's very tragic. And it's just a reminder that every day is precious. Some of us, well, we're all getting older every day that we're alive, right? But I know some people like dread certain birthdays, like they dread their 50th or their 60th or their 70th or their 80th. Some people are dreading 40. Some people are dreading 30. You better not dread any of them, honey, because every single one of them that you actually get to see is a gift, because some people will never see the age that you are today. So whatever age you are, there are some people who will never see it. So be grateful. Okay. Chat says my hair is super thick too. Yeah. See, I need to pull y'all over to the hair channel. I think that's how we're gonna do it. Plus, I love products. I'm a product junkie, and I need those sponsorships. I need PR packages. I feel like that will fulfill my life. I need PR packages, and I need to unbox them with you all. We're going to go through the products. I'm going to give you my honest opinions, test them out on my hair, see how they work. That's how I want to spend my life. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I'm sick of them people. I've tried it. I've already shared my thoughts extensively on it, and it's just not the lifestyle I want to live. I want to live a soft life. I want to live a soft life, trying out various hair products, different perfumes as well, because my nose is so sensitive. So I feel like I could pull the following off that. Just the simple fact that if you have a sensitive nose like I do, you probably trust my opinion on certain perfumes. So things like that, trying out different scents and body mists and splashes and lotions and what have you, different products that they release. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. Talking about psychotic narcissists, I've said this before in previous streams and videos, but I actually can't stand narcissists. I hate them. So I also hate talking about them, but I felt like it was necessary because the world needed to understand how these people operate. So you can hopefully avoid them. And if you can't avoid them, manage life with them until you can get away from them. That's all. They make my life miserable. So I created permission to exist in an effort to basically sabotage them, basically. And I think it kind of worked a little bit. I think the world is aware. So, okay. So, oh, yes. Okay, we got 2 more stories and then we'll get out of here. So, Gene Hackman and his wife. Okay. So, obviously I recognize the name Gene Hackman and I even kind of recognize his face, but I can't place him in any movie. But that's not his fault because I have horrific movie retention. It's awful. Okay. But anyway, he was 95 or 96. You all already know all the details. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But his death, the death of himself, his wife, and his dog is just all so weird and very, very suspicious and strange. And I'm sure the true crime girlies will be covering this extensively, but definitely had to bring that up. And for those who may not know, maybe you don't watch the news or you don't live in the States, basically they found his wife, and one of their pet dogs, unfortunately deceased in their home, but they had been there for a while. Apparently, to the point where the wife's hands started to mummify. I'm like, yeah, this is weird. They've already done autopsies and toxicologies. They don't believe they were poisoned. They don't believe carbon monoxide was involved. What they believe happened, one theory I heard was that his wife passed away first. And because he had dementia or Alzheimer's, he had one of those, either Alzheimer's or dementia, real bad. They think that he basically didn't know what to do. So he saw her and probably went to get help and then maybe forgot and then went on to do something else and then maybe came back and saw her again the next day, went to get help, forgot how to do it, and maybe I guess repeated this pattern until I don't know if he didn't get enough food and he starved. I don't know. The whole thing is real weird, real strange, very sad. So it'll be interesting to see what the final outcome of all that is, because she was 30 years younger than him. So so it's interesting that she passed because she was only in her 60s. Chat says Royal Tannenbaums. I've heard of that movie or show. I've heard of it though. Enemy of the State. Of course, I've heard of that one. I'm not sure if I've ever seen it though. Heard of Birdcage. I don't think I've ever seen that one. Behind Enemy Lines sounds real familiar. I can't wait to actually retire, because you know how I would like to spend my retirement, aside from luxuriating in different hair products and things of that nature. I want to get just a big screen TV. And since I guess DVDs don't exist anymore, or Blu-rays don't exist anymore, I guess I have to stream all of them. But I just want to make a list of all the movies and all the TV shows and basically catch up. So I want to spend my retirement watching all of these movies that I've never seen and TV shows that I've never seen and catch up so I know what people are talking about. Oh, y'all, this isn't on the list, but have y'all heard of that show Adolescence that everyone's been talking about lately? It's on Netflix. So I watched it because everyone kept talking about it, right? And I hate to say it, but it really wasn't very good for the way that everyone was hyping it up. I felt like the acting was way over the top and way overdone. I know some of y'all probably really liked it, but it literally was like nails on a chalkboard for me. Like, would y'all hurry up and get to the point? Like, oh my God. Like one scene was like 30 minutes long. It was the scene where the psychiatrist was talking to, his name is Jamie. And like they just kept going back and forth for 30 minutes. And then like he'd have like an explosion of anger and like put his hand on his forehead and like pace the room. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. But the good thing about that show, what I will say, aside from the acting, which I found to be just awful, okay, um, is that people are talking about the message behind that show. God, it could have been so much better done. Oh my God. That what message they were trying to communicate, which is basically how these young adolescent boys are falling down these right-wing, super toxic rabbit holes and coming out misogynists who hurt women. I mean, oh my God, that needs to be discussed. And it is being discussed in the public sphere. And I consider that a win. And I consider that a good thing. But good God, that is some horrible, like, honestly, I feel like I could have done better with my iPhone and Camtasia and a couple of actors, right? Now, to their credit, the whole episodes are shot in one scene. And I think that's part of why I was just like, oh God, this is taking forever. Because it's just one continuous scene. There's no break in action. So you gotta you got to follow him all the way down the hallway and then down the stairs and then around the corner and into the room and like oh my God. Oh, but that black cop, he's so fine. Hey, what's his name? Does anyone know that actor's name? Good God. I was like, whoo, you can interrogate me. Yes, officer. Yes, I did it. I did it. Okay. Anyway, um, I guess for those who are just interested in what all the hype is about, check it out, but be prepared, honey, because I actually like to be immersed. I like to binge watch stuff. I love binge watching stuff. Love it. Like I love for my attention to be pulled in that way and held. I literally kept pausing it like every 20 minutes and I would go do something else and then come back to it. So to me, it didn't grab and hold my attention. And I actually even fast forwarded through some parts. I'm like, okay, 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 okay. Like, anyway, I'm curious what those of you who have seen it think about it. But check it out if you want to, but you've been warned. Like I found it to be the delivery to be quite boring, but the message very, very important. So check that out, okay? So anyway, finally, let's close on Luigi. Our boy is back. Listen, you guys. Oh, I had another story, but I'll just say it really quick. Basically, just so you guys are aware, they recently passed a new law where a gym has to give you the ability to cancel with a click, basically. So they can't hold you hostage in these gym memberships anymore. They basically have to let you cancel as easy as you signed up, is basically the rule. Okay. So just as easily as you were able to sign up for the membership, you're supposed to be able to cancel it. So be aware of that. But you guys, I saw this today. Let me see if I can put this over here so I can show y'all. California is trying to pass a new law inspired by Luigi Mangione that basically would make it illegal for healthcare companies to play with you. Let me share my screen. And at first I thought it wasn't real, but I looked it up. It is real. It says breaking California lawmakers just proposed the Luigi Mangione Access to Healthcare Act that would make it a felony for insurance companies to delay, deny, or modify any medical procedure or medication recommended by a physician. Y'all, like this is incredible. This is incredible, okay? Like he he's a hero. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the internet, but this guy is a hero. This kid is a hero and he might get a mistrial, but that's a different discussion. Um Basically, and it should be a felony. I can't speak. If a physician recommends a program of care for you, who are you as the insurance company to say, yeah, we don't really think that's necessary? Excuse me? Did you go to medical school? Did you pass board examinations? Who are you? You're working behind a desk at a computer. You haven't set foot in medical school, but you are denying my patient care that I, as the physician, am recommending just because vibes, because you don't feel like it, because you don't feel like it's necessary. You're nuts. You're crazy. So this is real, y'all. California lawmakers are thinking about passing, or they proposed this act, and it would be a felony for insurance companies to delay, deny, or modify any medical procedure or medication recommended by a physician. So if your physician made the recommendation, they cannot say no. We need to get rid of insurance companies. We really do. They're borderline useless and they're profiteers and they're just making all this money and they don't have to actually deliver on their promise or give any of the money back. Like, that's crazy to me. If you buy a car, and let's say you keep that car for 5 years and you pay the car off and everything, and you don't get into a single accident, no claims whatsoever, not one. You haven't caused any accidents and you haven't been any accidents, and then you get rid of the car at the end of the 5 years, I'm sorry, but you deserve some of your money back. At least 25%, because I do understand that they have a business to run and employees to pay. But also, your CEOs shouldn't be making millions of dollars for what? All you do is sit in meetings all day. That's it. And travel around and go sit in other meetings. That's it. That's all you do. You shouldn't be making millions of dollars. You're not innovating. You're not doing anything special other than denying people the health care that they need. But you as a consumer, I believe, are entitled to a portion of that money back if you never actually use the product. So basically, you paid for a possibility. You paid for a what if. What if something happens? And yes, things happen every day. And are you grateful when your insurance is there and can cover it? Of course. It has fulfilled its purpose. But what if you make one insurance claim in 50 years of driving? How many thousands of dollars have you paid into that? And you'll never see a penny of it back. You paid for peace of mind. That's it. But you know what would have given you more peace of mind? The thousands of dollars that you've given these people for nothing, basically. Nothing. So anyway, and it's that much worse when it comes to healthcare. So I like it. Keep thinking, California. I love it. I love the innovation. I'm here for it. I want to see more stuff like this. Okay. So there's a question in the chat. What is your perspective on Project 2025 and how it will eventually affect the Black community? Well, I am impressed at their follow through because they threatened it before Trump got elected again. They certainly threatened it and they meant it. So that's one thing I think all of us can take away is that these people are going to do what they say they're going to do, regardless of who it hurts. So take heed. No matter how bad the idea is, here should be your litmus test. If it's a horrible idea, they're absolutely going to go through with it. That's your litmus test. If it would hurt a lot of people and harm a lot of people, you can guarantee they're going to go through with it. They're going to push it through. So I think Project 2025 is basically a plan for total destruction, and they've already started it. They've already initiated it. Now, the funniest part is that they're affecting their own constituents in doing so. They've been getting chewed out and cussed out and thrown out of town halls where they are there chewing out their Republican elected officials, not Democratic. It's Republicans and conservatives going to chew out other Republicans and conservatives because it is affecting them so badly. So I think it's awful. I think it's ill thought out. I think it's based in some weird ideologies that are completely subjective and not objective. That's their problem. They want everyone to think and believe like them instead of actually being what America was supposed to be, which is a land of free people. Free people. We don't all have to believe in the same God, religion, we don't have to. We don't have to abide by those things. There's certain things we have to abide by, like not killing each other. That's a pretty fair rule across the board, I think. I don't think anyone should take anyone else's life. I think that's pretty fair. And then we can kind of branch out from there to some universal truths, universal laws, but things that affect, for example, their attack on women and how they are so determined to control women's reproduction when that has nothing to do with you. If you believe abortion is wrong, then you need to let God deal with that person. You believe in God, right? Well, if you believe God believes abortion is wrong, worry about your own soul. You can only save your own soul. Let her worry about hers. Mind your own business. They're busybodies. Anyway, my point, and then to answer the second part of your question, how will it eventually affect the Black community? That's actually a good question because I think the Black community is already accustomed to their foolishness. Everything they do affects us the most. So anything that they do with this is going to affect us the most. But I think the thing about us is we're so used to it that we just know we just have to wait them out and don't put your hands on me. Basically, like, yep, they're stupid. Yep, they're going to try to screw us over. That's what they've been trying to do. Anyway, let me learn this new line dance and don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me. Okay, don't touch my money. That's going to bring it out right there because they're trying to cut Social Security and all that foolishness. I hope them boomers, I almost said something I shouldn't say online. I hope those boomers protest in a way that you can't ignore there. That's how I'll say it. When y'all try to take those boomers' Social Security, I hope they protest in a way that only boomers can protest. And that's what I'll say about that. But I think we'll be all right. I think what this does, what we're seeing happen, is it's teaching us not to rely on these people at all. It's teaching us that this is not a serious place. So it's not to be taken seriously. And I think for a lot of us, it has solidified our plans to leave this place eventually and leave them to their own devices. Life can be better than this. It doesn't have to be like this. We're just so used to it because most of us were born here. So we're accustomed to it. We've been going through it for generations. So it's nothing new. Like what would actually surprise us is good behavior. I don't think we would trust it. I think if the Republicans did a 180 and actually started behaving like reasonable human beings with compassion and empathy and all that, I don't think we would trust it. We would be like, what's the rub? What's the catch? I don't like it. I don't trust it. But I'm going to give the conservatives and Republicans listening an idea, because I know you listen, to troll if nothing else. But here's an idea for you, because I know you hate us all so much. So I have an idea for you. I know you all want to whitewash the country and you want this to be a white nation. And here's my proposal to you. Since you drug us over here against our will, I think you should fund our return fully. And here's what that looks like. You're going to wipe out all of our debt, all of it, be that mortgage, student loan, credit card, other random debts, car notes. You're going to clear our debt. You're either going to eliminate our social security number or you're just going to reset it to where it's perfect, if you will. You're going to fund the return flights that we will choose because we don't trust the planes that you would choose to send us over there. We don't trust your planes right now at all. And I certainly wouldn't trust one to make a transcontinental flight to return a bunch of people that you don't like back to wherever they want to go. I wouldn't trust it. So you're going to fund all the return flights. We will not self-identify on those return flights. And basically, you're going to give us all $1 million US tax free. And we'll sign off. And basically, it'll be like a divorce, basically. And we'll divorce you and we'll leave. Clear our debts. Give us cash money. I want it in multiple forms too. I'm going to need cash, direct deposit. Some needs to be on a credit or debit card, and some needs to be like held in a trust or something of that nature. I need it diversified because I don't trust you. And we'll leave. We'll get out of your hair, and you can have it back. And we'll sit on the other side of the world and watch you burn it down to the ground. That's my proposal. You can afford it. It's cheaper in the long run. You get rid of what you consider to be a long-term problem, and you take the noose off of our neck in terms of all this debt that we've had to rack up to try to keep up in this country. Just wipe it clean, wipe the slate clean, wipe our credit scores clean, wipe our debts, give us cash, fund our return flights home, and we're out of here. Bye. So you're back. I thought I blocked you at the page level. I see I got more work to do. All right. So anyway, it's been fun, y'all. This is a good show. This was fun. I love catching up with you guys. So I made my promise March 31st. So I have done every installment since January, I think. January, February, and March. I feel like there was a fourth one. I just can't remember. So you can look to hear from me again, wrapping up April and hopefully sometime before that. But again, I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. So I will commit to you to come on towards the end of April so we can summarize everything that has gone on since we last met. Okay. And with that, I am going to play us out on my favorite Angie Stone song called No More Rain. I don't know how well the sound is going to come through because that's why I was late. I was trying to put it in video format and it didn't work. So I'm going to switch my mic here with the hope that it will pick up the sound better now that I've changed that setting, okay? And this is going to cause me to lose monetization on this video. So if you don't mind liking this video, going and checking out a different one so I can get a little bit of something for this video, and we'll just call that done, okay? So everybody take care. I hope you're all doing well. Hang in there. Take good care of yourself, okay? And we'll talk again very, very soon, okay? Bye. Well, that didn't work. Hold on. Let me find it. I thought I had it pulled up. Well, we'll hang out a little bit more. So I'm gonna play the song. Maybe that's Angie saying, girl, go ahead and get your money. Don't worry about me, girl. I'm all right. I thought I had it pulled up though. And I don't see it. Let's try that again. I know how to find it. Creator music. Your library. Okay, here it is. All right. So for real this time, you guys take care. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon, okay? Bye. All right. So you guys just told me that the sound is not coming through. So much for my Angie Stone tribute. The name of the song is No More Rain. No More Rain by Angie Stone. Check it out. So in that case, since it's not working, I'll just play our usual one, okay? Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye.